Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the field op. Hey, sorry for a little bit of the technological delays right here in the East Coast. I mean, I think I live next to Carl Griswold's cousin Eddie. I mean, it's 6:15 almost 6:30 in the afternoon. My man wants to start cutting his grass all of a sudden, as I'm getting ready to go into the podcast. And on top of that, I'm having technological issues right here with the studio. But those are all excuses. And as we know, excuses are like, you know what? So, and everybody's got one. But hey, like we do in the Marine Corps, we just make stuff happen. And, adapt and overcome, right? Semper Gumby. So, hey, we got an amazing, at the end of the day, look, it's Baby Friday. Friday is, Friday Night's Eve is upon us. So, goddamn, it's almost the weekend, right? Am I right? So, hey, look, I want to talk to you, before we get started, I want to talk to you about an amazing product that, Brian Colburn and I, he's from SitchRadio.com, one of the amazing people that helped out get this show out to you. The dude is a techie guy. He kind of paired me up with this product called NowSight. NowSight AI. It is an amazing piece of equipment. I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, it's on the show descriptions. I'll throw it in there as well. Please use my link right there. I don't get anything out of it, by the way. It's just a referral link. But if you want to take your content branding, your social media game to the next level, then I highly recommend that you use this. When I will be posting, obviously I'm branding myself out. I'm doing a lot of stuff in regards to social media. So I'm constantly posting stuff out there. It would take me to 30 minutes to 40 minutes between all my different social media outlets trying to post stuff and come up with stuff. This thing right here, I am down to like 5 to 10 minutes in the morning. You can actually create very deepful, insightful posts, funny, whatever, emojis, no emojis. It's an AI, and you just hit the button. It'll even create an image or a photo that very something. So if you follow me, whether you follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or if you have noticed that my content is a little bit more, it's gotten better, I'm using this thing. You can even actually post and comment on somebody else's post. You just copy and paste it on there. It'll generate a comment, and you could throw it right back. You could be at the doctor, you could be doing whatever, and you could be utilizing this piece of equipment. So if you want to take yourself to the next level as far as content creating and branding yourself out in a day and age where social media pretty much rules our lives, I highly recommend this piece of this new app. There's an app version and a web version as well. So it's all on the show content as well. So this show is brought to you and you've heard me talk in the past. We're all about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to bear arms, freedom of speech, all that good stuff. So if you like what you hear today, like, subscribe, and follow. Make sure that throw some comments on there. Let's create an avenue where we're all sharing and exchanging ideas, because that's in a day and age where everybody's so divided. Why not be able to just agree to disagree sometimes? So if you like the show, like, subscribe, and follow. If not, check something out from SitchRadio.com. And, something in there may tickle your fancy. This show is also brought to you. You've heard I advocate a lot for the VA. It is the only thing that we got. So unless you're a retiree, that you can use TRICARE. But hey, the system is not perfect. The only way to make it better is, 1, you got to vote. 2, voice your complaints, and you can utilize the many different things, avenues of approach to get your issues taken care of. But at the end of the day, you cannot expect and hope that the VA it takes, makes you, gives you your 100% total, permanent total without you helping them out. So you gotta, and I'm saying this because I was helping some veterans this week, putting their claim. And you gotta study the 38 CFR. That tells you how to put your VA claims together. The website is pretty easy. I have some other content that I can send to you if you want it, and that can help so that you can put your claim together. But you got to do your due diligence and not just place the blame on the VA saying that it's all messed up, because you have to be part of the solution as well. So that's kind of like I'm on my horse, right, on my soapbox, so to speak. So, but hey, let's get this show started. How about that? We got all the pleasantries and all the stuff out of the way. Let's get the show going. So I remember, I think I talked about this, and I think one of our listeners, Larry Zipper, and one of my posts that I put in today, doing the show description. When we went to Iraq the first time in 2003, I was part of the permanent staff at a INI duty station. INI duty station for anybody else outside of the Marines. For my Army folks, you guys call it AGR. Basically, you're active duty personnel at a reserve command, and you make sure that they're set up for success for their drill weekends and so on and so forth. Well, back in those days, when the whole Iraq thing popped off, we actually this reserve command was stood up to basically make it happen, and basically everybody goes to Iraq, right? So we had, the main hub, the main battalion was in Camp Pendleton, California, up in Las Flores area. So shout out to all my fellow Amtrackers over there. So not Amtrackers, I'm sorry, LAV folks, 4th LAR, and 1st LAR being over there. So, we stood up this reserve battalion. We had other companies, other components of that battalion. We had some in Utah, we had some in the East Coast. Anyway, so when we all got to Iraq, we all met in Kuwait. So anyway, so when you get ready to push out, and then I'm kind of being a little bit more descriptive in case we got some civilian types listening to our show today. So, when you're getting ready to do, go cross the line of departure, the LOD, to go into combat or whatever the case, we divide into different convoys. We call those sticks. So my stick commander happened to be this captain from, I think it was Salt Lake, Utah. It's one of where, I forgot, I think it was either Delta Company or, anyways, the guy, he was a captain, and the dude had a freaking mustache. I mean, this thing looked like a womb broom. And my man had a big ass head. I don't know if for those of you, and I'm kind of dating myself, if anybody has ever watched the movie Spaceballs, remember the character Darth Helmet. I mean, that was his nickname. Because the guy was short, and when he put his helmet on, his Kevlar, I mean, this dude looked like, he looked like a giant ass lollipop, a little short body with his big ass head. Anyway, so we just keep him Darth Helmet, for brevity's sake. So we're pushing out on our stick. It was our turn. He's our convoy commander, and we're pushing out. And we were in a light armor vehicle battalion, an LAV battalion. In the Army, they call those strikers, right? So we were all, and I was motor T transportation. So we had, equipment. Our equipment back then was 5 tons. The old, truck, the old style trucks, not the new stuff that that the Marine Corps uses, which is pretty cool and pretty badass. I mean, this is before computerized equipment and shit. I mean, this is pure diesel equipment, as old school as the shit gets, and I'm sure it could get older. Anyways, one of the LAVs happen to go. These things break quite often. Mainly they're differentials. So and plus, and they also have a lot of engine issues. I don't know why, but they do. That's been my experience. Somebody else on here, you might say otherwise. I don't give a shit. It's my show, and I can talk about it however I want to. Anyways, at the end of the day, LAV went down, this cat, and you know, we all pull on the side of the road. We haven't even crossed into Iraq yet. We're still, you know, in the Kuwait side, and we are, you know, we pull over the side of the road and we're trying to talk. So I'm the permanent personnel type in the reserve command, and then my counterpart was a staff sergeant. And you know, we're talking, hey, what are we gonna do with this piece of equipment? Should we just leave it right here, put an incendiary grenade, and just leave it here? And you know, we're kind of talking. Here comes Darth, you know, Lord Helmet, and he's like, hey, gents, you know, what's going on? I'm like, hey, sir. This is before I became an officer, and I'm like, hey, sir, you know, this LAV keeps going down. They keep we keep pulling over the side of the road, and we keep putting engine oil in it. So pretty sure it's got a huge leak, and this thing is not going to make it. I suggest we just leave it here. So I had a Lance Corporal back then, and he's a good friend of mine. His name is David East. And here comes East. And, you know, he comes in. He goes, actually, the captain said, well, can one of the trucks pull it? I'm like, no, sir. You cannot mix it. That's like doing different, you know, you cannot mix different variant types. In other words, striker with a regular piece of, you know, you can't. It's like trying to tow a car with a forklift. You just don't do it, right? So he was like, hey, can the record, the tow truck, pull this thing? And I was like, no, you cannot. We're not supposed to. And they, well, we're in combat. Like, no, we're not in combat. We're pushing to an area that has a conflict, but we're not in combat. And these roads are not bad, so we're just trying to get to our next point. And here comes He's like, well, sir, I can, you know, my LVS, it's a light vehicle, logistics vehicle system, which is, it's just a long ass truck that, you know, that can pull it has a lot of payload capacity, but still you don't mix vehicles, so to speak. Well, this dumbass is like, hey, I can pull it, sir, you know, blah, blah. And I'm looking like, hey, shut the F up, bro. You know, stay in your lane, you know, and I even grabbed, like, go get me the technical manual. And I'm telling the captain, I'm like, do you see any picture saying that we can tow your equipment? And he's like, okay. He goes, well, we're going to do it anyways. I'm like, okay, you got it, sir. So I was like, I made a note of that, whatever. It was wrong. I mean, it was a wrong, from my end, from my perspective, you know, knowing now what I didn't know then, you know, hey, look, one, I got to give credit to the Marine, the Lance Corporal, for him saying, you know, being, hey, sir, I can do it. We can pull it. I got this. I mean, I got to give him credit for that, for taking that decision, right? And I also got to give credit to the captain for making that decision. It's not the most, it wasn't a popular decision, clearly. And me being the active duty component at the reserve duty station, I guess, and I'm using this term very loosely, me being the SME, the subject matter expertise, when it comes to rolling stock, he should have listened. He should have listened at least to my input and take it for consideration. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but the dude made a decision, good, bad, or indifferent, and he stuck with it. So I have to give the man credit for that, because as a commander, or even sometimes in life, folks, we got to make decisions. Maybe not with all the information that is all available at the time, and whatever the outcome is, you got to, whether good or bad, you got to be accountable for it. And the dude was, as we were moving, we were pushing through different positions, logistics positions, pulling this deadline, and we call it deadline. It doesn't work. The shit doesn't work. This deadline piece of equipment, we pulled it into one logistics hub where we all got refueled. We got to eat, and we actually stayed overnight in this position. And then in the morning, we picked, because again, we're trying to make it to our destination and meet with the rest of the battalion. Long story short, after we left that pause, maybe an hour into the drive, because again, so if I'm trying to show you here. So let's say that this little box right here, this is the LVS, and this is pretty much how long this vehicle is, and it's pulling this Striker vehicle. Well, the differential, because this thing has 4 different differentials. It's got 8 wheels in total. Another set of differentials locked up on it. The wheels locked up, and then it started. It just this thing was dragging it because this one truck is very powerful. Basically, it was dragging it for a little bit. The differential locked up, and all the wheels that steered turned, and this thing started. Pretty much. It went on its side and it was thank God that the tow bar that where in the pintle hook, how you tow this vehicle, thank God that the pintle hook swivels, spins around. Thank God for that, because this LAV pretty much went off the side of the road and still being towed, and it went on its side and it was rolling, and this other the other truck was pulling it. And it wasn't until the guys kind of felt something that was, and he goes, and the assistant driver looks. I'm like, oh my God, hey, this thing is gonna basically, make us crash. And the worst thing about it is that the guy that was pulling that, that had the big truck, he had 3 fuel pods. Basically, in each fuel pod, it had each one had over 900 gallons of fuel inside of them. So I mean, this thing could have been bad. We could have lost 2 Marines. Thank God we didn't, and we just lost that LAV. And we at the end of the day we had to leave it. So we all pulled on the side because we heard it on the radio. I was the lead vehicle, so I'm here running. I parked my vehicle, and I'm running back to that other piece of equipment, and I got my rifle, and I'm just screaming. One of the guys' his name was Frank too, as a matter of fact. And I'm screaming, Frank, and I'm hoping that, and as I run by, Lord Helmet here, and my other counterpart, the staff sergeant John Mestes, shout out to John Mestes. We both look and we're like, I fucking told I fucking told you so. And the guy's like, shut up. So I run over there. We make sure that everybody's okay. We pretty much, I start documenting anything and everything. And to to report what happened. The rest of the drive, it didn't go. We didn't have any other hiccups. We did lose another vehicle along the way, but it was because we had some engine issues, which it does happen. I mean, in combat, anything and everything can happen. You think you're freaking prepared to pretty much You think that you can mitigate anything and everything, but I'm here to tell you that it ain't gonna happen. So as we got closer and closer to our end position, we're just kind of being like, oh my God, what else is gonna break down is basically was everybody's thoughts, and everybody's kind of pretty much shaken up. So when we got back over there, we meet up the rest of the convoys, the rest of the crew. And I went to find my officer in charge, my OIC, which at the time was our, he was I think he was a ordnance officer, chief warrant officer type, and say, hey sir, you need to hear what happened. And he's like, yeah, tell me all about it. And I, here's everything that happened. I had already even, in a little green combat, our green monsters, what we call these little notebooks that everybody walks around in the Marine Corps. Every good NCO has a green monster. So, I pretty much wrote everything and wrote my statement and say it was in regards to the captain. And I don't know what happened, whether he got, I don't think he got office hours or anything of the sort, because again, the point I'm trying to make here with, when you make a decision, you gotta be accountable. So, I what I see a lot, and when I when I worked in corporate America is, a lot of shit would happen out on the manufacturing floor, and on my previous job, things would happen on the shop floor, but nobody would take accountability for it. We had an incident where if somebody was injured or anything, they would do, even the supervisors would do anything and everything to blame the piece of equipment, rather than to hold that individual accountable who stuck their hands into that piece of machinery where they lost a fingertip, or they fractured a finger, or they ended up injuring themselves for doing something that they shouldn't have. When they've been briefed, the information had been passed, but nobody wants to hold each other accountable. So Hell, my supervisor at the time, this lady tried to hold me accountable for something that completed. Look, we as service members, we're pretty much we good or bad. Most of us will own whatever dumb shit we do, but I'm not gonna own something that it's one. I was basically not set up for success, basically set up for failure. So, that I'm going to stay, I'll be the first to say, hey, that shit ain't my fault. However, you know, in the past, when I made calls, whether they're good or bad, and and I'm not perfect because I made my share of bad call, but at the end of the day, I got to own it. So any good leader will own whatever decision that they make. It is the burden of especially when we talk about, well, my colonel is messed up or the general is so effed up and whatever. We, without all the information, that's what we see from the outside looking in. And even in this case right here, yes, two Marines could have passed away, whatever, but the dude couldn't foretell the future as to, hey, is this shit gonna go break down, whatever. He was just making it happen, trying not to leave a vehicle in the side of the road for the Kuwaitis or maybe Iraqis to pilfer and steal a lot of the stuff in it, whatever. So I gotta give credit to that individual for at least making that decision, and the dude stuck with it. It wasn't the best. That was the last time him and I talked. I mean, him and I would cross paths. We're meant to cross paths later on and throughout the entire deployment. While we're in Iraq. So at the end of the day, we all have to be accountable. You make a decision, stick with it, and you got to see it. You got to let it play through. As an officer myself, and when I would brief a commander, hey, I will give him 3 courses of action. And also bring him, hey, these could be the things that can happen. And hey, if you take this course of action, here are the things that the cons of it that that may be presented. You got to give somebody, even in today's day and age, hey, don't bring me problems. Bring me a problem and at least bring me one solution. So that way, we can work through it together. And I think that's pretty much when we. In a day and age, it's so easy to blame, put fingers on everybody else. Nobody's being accountable nowadays. So, all I'm saying is that let's take ownership. Let's bring accountability back as much needed. I know I probably don't have to, I'm preaching to the choir with my audience, but at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror, if you made a decision, good, bad, or indifferent, the only one that you could blame is you. So do your best, get your stuff together. Whether you have to fix yourself, if you're trying to lose weight, you can only, like me. I'm gonna tell you right here that I love Haagen-Dazs, dulce de leche ice cream and honey salted caramel with almonds. And let me tell you, if I eat that trash every day, or Ben and Jerry's, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I love Ben and Jerry's salted caramel core. God damn, I can eat. But if I eat a lot of that stuff every day, and I start getting kind of fluffy, who else do I gotta blame? I can't blame the fucking ice cream. I gotta blame me, right? I can't blame the spoon. I'm the one driving the spoon into my mouth. So again, accountability. So you just got to go hit the pavement and make shit happen. So at the end of the day, just let's be accountable. Let's make stuff happen, and do the do, right? So I think I bumped my gums enough, despite all the stuff going on the side. If you heard some stuff in the background, again, sorry about that. It is what it is, but I think it's important for us to get all that stuff information. Let me see what the problem is. Everyone wants to be a leader, but they don't want to do the leadership. Yep, that is 100%. People, it's like everybody wants to be part. Everybody wants all the accolades and be rich and all that shit, but nobody wants to do the hard part that comes in between with getting, whether you're trying to excel at a position, where you're trying to excel at your civilian job, or whether you're trying to get a business, off the ground. You gotta pay the price. Okay, and you got to be accountable for it. Yes, Tom, that's 100%. And by the way, hey, if you want to see some really funny, sometimes disturbing stuff, hey, you want to check out Tom's channel on Inspector Shitter. I highly recommend you guys check his stuff out. Some pretty stuff, sometimes kind of disturbing, but hey, I think we're in the right type of crowd. So with that being said, everybody, if you've been ruminating about any negative stuff and you going down that rabbit hole, hey, don't as cliche as it sounds, hey, look, that time is gonna pass. You just got to get through that time period, okay? And if you're having difficulties, by all means, and I'm not just saying this just because I'm some dude that has a podcast. Reach out to me. I mean, you have my information right there. We can talk through it and get you some resources. I'm very connected. I got a lot of friends who have run a lot of nonprofits and get you all the help and assistance, because you killing yourself, taking your life, is just gonna leave the rest of us wondering what the hell happened. So with that being said, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and index over here. Ice Tomas, Dice the Key. See you next week. Take care. God damn, we're done.